I'm going to share with you the findings from our baseline work, which we did in the KCCA facilities, and we characterized the cascade of care for the children who present to these facilities. This is the baseline work before rolling out the interventions, upon which at a later point in time we shall evaluate the impact of the interventions. I'm very certain that we are all aware of the challenges with regards to diagnosis and management of TB in children, and it's upon those so many challenges that several stakeholders, including the TB Union and WHO, came up with the clinical guidelines to aid in the diagnosis and management of TB, especially in low-income, high-burden settings. So the union came up with a desk guide, and it rolled it out and disseminated it in places that see children with TB. So in our work, we wanted to find out how well TB is being diagnosed in children using the guidelines that were put out in the desk guide. This is a snapshot which shows the algorithm in the desk guide. And so this is a snapshot from the 2010 guideline. However, there is one in 2016 which doesn't change much except maybe the flow of the arrows. Can we all see this very well? During our work and during our evaluation, we mainly went for, we have two pathways. We have a pathway whereby children are diagnosed using the laboratory means, and for those who are positive, we treat for TB. And there is also the clinical side, whereby if a child screens positive for the cardinal symptoms, and they also have a history of contact, you can also treat for TB. We skipped the bit about chest X-ray because the KCCA facilities, they don't have regular available chest X-rays. So our evaluation was on clinical and laboratory grounds. So this is part of our ongoing peer health study, and the data I'm presenting was data which we collected between November 2015 and December 2016, and it's a cohort of close to 25,000 children who presented at the outpatient clinics in these 6 KCA facilities. We included all children who are less than 15 years old. And during this work, I'm sure in the previous stakeholders meetings we shared some of this. We introduced a standard medical form 5 to these facilities, and this medical form 5 is the standard document which is used by clinicians on all children who present to the outpatient department. This photo shows one of the sessions which we had when we were introducing the standard medical form 5. We had a lot of sessions, and we oriented the people at the facilities about the medical form and how it will be used. In assessing the standard of care, we developed indicators, and we developed these indicators from the desk guide algorithms, as I hinted already. And some of the indicators, the key indicators which we used, include the proportion of children who present to the outpatient department that were fully screened for the cardinal symptoms that are suggestive of TB, and of those who screened positive, who are presumed to have TB. We wanted to find out what proportion are referred for further laboratory evaluation, what proportion are tested for HIV, because that is the recommendation is everyone should be. And we wanted to know of those who meet the criteria for TB diagnosis, be it laboratory or clinical, what proportion are started on treatment. This is a flowchart which shows our findings. We had a total of 24,566 children for the period which we evaluated, and of those we see that close to one half of the children, which is 47.3, were fully evaluated for cardinal symptoms that are suggestive of TB. So that already highlights one gap for us, that over half of the children don't get fully evaluated for symptoms suggestive of TB. So from the number that were evaluated, we see that 15%, which is 1,747, were presumed to have TB. Of this, only 360, which is 20%, were referred for laboratory evaluation. So we see already another gap here, because we want to see as many of the children with presumed TB being referred for further laboratory evaluation. We used the criteria as it was outlined in the desk guide to find out how many children fit the clinical diagnosis of TB. So together, from these children, the 360, we got 20 children who were confirmed to have TB by laboratory means, and using the clinical algorithms, we got an additional 65 children who would have fitted the diagnosis of clinical TB, bringing our total of children with TB to 85. Of these, 18 were started on TB treatment. So we see another gap here, that of the 85 eligible children, only 18 were started on TB treatment. This is just a table to show us more information about how well screened the children were. These are the cardinal symptoms that we are talking of, which we used, and we see that the symptom which was screened for most is the history of persistent cough, which was screened for in 65% of the children, while the least screened for cardinal feature was fatigue, which was screened for in only 54% of the children. And in terms of frequency of occurrence of the symptoms, the most common was still persistent cough at 5.5, while the least frequent risk factor was history of contact, which was present in only 6.5% of the children that were encountered. This is a chart which further looks at the metrics of laboratory evaluation of the children. We highlighted in the previous slide that only 360 children were referred to the lab, and of these 360 children, 9 of them never got any test done on them. Of the 351 children who got a test done, 53.3% got expert done, and we know that the recommendation is at least all children should be evaluated first using expert. And the other remainder were evaluated using smear microscopy. 159 children managed to have the first smear done, and of these, only 47%, which is 29%, got a second smear. So in terms of completing smears, we see that only 29.6 managed to provide those smears. However, we had 50 children who got first smear and then were evaluated by experts, and we have an additional 2 children who, after the second smear, still got an expert, but this expert didn't yield any extra cases. But of those who were evaluated with a smear, we see 9 who were positive, and of those who were evaluated with expert, we see 11 being positive. And this is the 20 children who were confirmed to have TB, as I showed earlier. In terms of HIV testing, 352 children of the total children who were presumed for TB, which is 20%, were referred for HIV testing. And of these, only 288, which is slightly above 80, completed the testing, and we got 69 children who had TB. In terms of the nature of TB diagnosis, we see that 19 of the 20 children who were confirmed with TB at least got HIV testing. However, only 2 of the 65 children who met a criteria for clinical TB diagnosis were referred for HIV testing. We didn't go into detailed mathematical modeling, but we tried to project and find out what the extra yield would be if the desk guide was to be adhered to fully. And what we see is at least 4 children at OPD were fully evaluated for the symptoms. Our number of presumed TB cases would at least increase by 2-fold, and the number of clinical cases would also increase by 2-fold, and the number of confirmed cases would increase by almost 5-fold, and this would increase the overall number of TB cases by 3-fold. However, like I mentioned earlier, this is not based on mathematical modeling. They are just basic projections, and we assumed that those children who were not evaluated had equal chance of being evaluated as those who were evaluated. I should mention a few limitations in this work. The first one being the fact that we were unable to follow up on those children who were not evaluated, who were not fully evaluated for TB. We don't know if these children later came back and got evaluated. We don't know what happened to them. I feel it's a limitation. And the fact that we use routine data, and we know that we have issues with poor recording, among others. We could have underestimated the efforts of the clinicians as by the mere fact that there was poor recording. And also we feel our involvement at the facilities could somehow have influenced the clinicians maybe to even be more vigilant and maybe improve on the way they diagnose. However, we don't know to what extent. So in conclusion, we identified large gaps during the cascade of evaluation of children for TB, and we saw that clinical diagnosis is rarely done. We also saw a missed opportunity for both TB and HIV diagnosis, and we said that to improve the diagnosis, we need a better application of these clinical algorithms. These are some of our key stakeholders and funders.